Story 1. You should get married when your relationship is at a point where getting married does not make a difference. Marriage will not fix a broken relationship or improve one that is not already as good as it gets. Story 2. Love does not equal a relationship. You can love someone but acknowledge that they are not a good relationship partner. It doesn't mean you love them any less. Instead, look for someone whom you love but who also shares the things that are important to you in a relationship and with whom you can live mostly drama-free. Story 3. Marriage is hard work. It is wonderful and rewarding, but it is not about a wedding day. It is about the rest of your life. Choose someone who is going to make your life easier and happier. Never take your partner for granted. Show appreciation for each other. Be grateful. Learn how to argue in a healthy way. Stay polite even when angry. Being emotional or angry is okay, but being vindictive or mean is not. It is hurtful and damaging. Do not let resentment build up, and do not ever let contempt or bitterness into the marriage. Communication, communication, communication. Talk about everything. Do not hint or expect your partner to know what you are thinking or why you are mad. Talk about your day. Listen to your partners. Let them vent to you or babble excitedly about their newest hobby. Talk about your needs in the bedroom, what food you want to eat, what your shared financial goals are, and how you choose to parent. And keep talking. Your needs will grow and change over time as you will. Guess, kids will not solve relationship problems. Story 4. Marry someone because you love who they are now, not for the potential you see in them. Most of the unhappy women I know truly believe their partner would change for them. It's very hard to change who you are when you want to, let alone change for someone else for reasons that you may not even be evolved enough to understand. Pay attention to the red flags and understand that unless your partner can change them to green on the first or second request, it's only going to get worse. When they show you who they are, believe them. Story 5. You are also marrying their family. If the family does not like you for whatever reason, they may never like you. They may try to drive you apart, poison him against you, or be straightforwardly mean to you. If he is not going to take your side or try to be diplomatic, meaning actually hear the problem and be direct with his family, then do not think they are going to change. Story 6. 1. Marry someone who wants to be married. No pressure, no force. Just someone who sees you and what you both have together and is looking to elevate it. If marriage is your goal, then marriage needs to happen before any other big events. Do not have that baby, don't sign for that mortgage, don't put your name on that car. Everyone's circumstances are different, but head over to the Waiting to Wed subreddit to see what it looks like when you invest everything and can't get that one thing back. Love loudly and stay out of those wedding planning or marriage advice groups. I've never seen a more unhappy bunch of people than engaged and married folks in those communities. They are absolutely miserable in their relationships but going forward with it anyway. And because they can't or won't leave, they do not want to see anyone else leave either, so you all can complain about your terrible partners together. They describe horrible mistreatment, and the best advice people seem to be able to give is to pray or talk it out. Girl, leave. If your spouse is disrespecting you, isolating you, making you feel small, always has you in a state of stress, then leave. You are not meant to marry everyone who proposes to you and not meant to get a proposal from everyone you date. Stop trying to make it work with someone who doesn't like you. Maintain separate hobbies and friends. You can love your partner to pieces and still have healthy amounts of alone time or quality time with others. Do not fall into the trap of centering your world around your partner and forgetting everyone else. Your friends were not placeholders until you found a relationship. If you are going to be a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home wife, you need to protect yourself. I know you think your partner would never, but we also never thought we'd land on the moon. Make an agreement about how much of the household income will get transferred to one of your personal accounts, or alternatively try to find some sort of online work. Do not leave the livelihoods of yourself and any potential children up to a coin toss. Be financially involved. Even if you do work outside the home, a division of finances needs to be agreed upon. Learn each other's communication needs. You may be someone who likes to solve the problem right now, and they may be someone who needs a moment to process. Give them that space without making them feel like a non-participant. If they are going to get back to you, then they will. Now, obviously, there is an extreme to this, and you'll be able to tell if they are procrastinating, but in normal cases, taking a moment is okay. Also, whatever the disagreement may be, table it at dinner and resume after. I don't have the science for why this matters, but it does. Use dinner as bonding time and quality time always. The disagreement will still be there when you all are done. Make time for sex. You would be surprised how many little irritations start to arise all because it's been too much time since you were last intimate. It's a great de-stressing activity with your favorite person. Show your partner you're thinking of them. Never stop flirting, teasing, etc. You are each other's muses. That being said, also find a healthy balance by incorporating non-sexual intimacy as well. Physical and emotional bonds need good nourishment. You do not have to like each other's families. You just have to be respectful. Don't force your spouse to go somewhere you know they are uncomfortable, disliked, or not wanting. Don't force any bonds or connections. They either are going to happen or they won't. I never agreed with the idea that marrying makes you all family. Marrying just made you this person's spouse. No one else has to see you this way, and you don't have to see them that way. They can be your partner's family, and that is all, especially in the face of disrespect. You don't have to tolerate that. Story 7. Don't rush into marriage just because you feel pressured by society, family, or friends. Take your time to truly know yourself and your partner. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, trust, and communication, not just love. Also, don't lose your individuality in a relationship. It's important to maintain your own hobbies, friendships, and goals. Story 8. Wait until you're 25 or older before you make any life-lasting decisions. Relationships with very high highs and very low lows are 99% of the time toxic. Your partner should be your best friend, your number one cheerleader, and vice versa. Your partner should feel like home. The right partner will make you feel safe and will never have you worried about them going outside of their marriage. This might be controversial, but in my opinion, marriage shouldn't be extremely hard with the right person. Yes, you'll have disagreements, and yes, you'll have times where you're misaligned on certain topics, but if you have a healthy dynamic and healthy communication style, this will always be resolved. Story 9. Straight person here, so speaking from that perspective. Morbid. But before you get married, imagine you get in an accident. And a consequence of that accident is that you have to relearn to walk. How does your spouse fit into that equation? Are you bedridden watching wet towels pile up on the floor of the bathroom? Is he able to go shop for all the meals you both love without sending you a text about which olives to buy? Can he pay the water, gas, and electricity without interrupting your intense grief? Is he selfless enough to carry you to the car for the 7 months of physical therapy? Imagine you have 2 amazing kids and then you die when they are 12 and 9. Is this the man you want them to navigate adolescence, grief, and life with? Would he know where to drop them off at school? Would he know the email of their teachers? Would he know what menstrual pads to buy your daughter and the special pharmacy where you get your son's inhaler? Apply this logic to having a miscarriage, losing a parent, being broke as hell, having a mental health episode, being sued, owning a failing business, losing a job, getting cancer, etc. Those things or their equivalent will happen to you during this marriage. Think about those tiny moments that you tolerate right now and what they will look like in a time of real strife. Imagine in 14 years that you're at Thanksgiving and one of your in-laws makes a comment about how your daughter is really filling out, or your son might have sugar in his tank. How does the man of your dreams and father of your children react? Really imagine your marriage beyond, wow, we have fun. Or, but I love him so I can excuse he doesn't know how to grocery shop. Don't marry for now, marry for those scenarios. Because that's the way to live a fulfilled life. Just because your man is cute with his nephews at the holidays, tells you he would love you if you were a worm, or buys you amazing birthday gifts, doesn't mean anything. The reality is that most men won't parent, be there for you when you just need him to buy the groceries for 3 weeks, or even stay with you if you gain 30 pounds. Story 10. Don't let people treat you poorly just because you love them. You might love them, but if they truly loved you, they wouldn't treat you this way, and you deserve better than that. Don't get engaged, married, or pregnant, hoping it will force your partner into changing their behavior or habits. Story 11. Ooh, I like this question. Okay, my 2 cents, hope it makes sense and someone gets some use out of it. 1. Marry in a courthouse. I have personally never understood the appeal of dropping $30,000 on 500 of your closest relatives and friends to show off you've found your soulmate. The most important person's opinion will be your new spouse, so why not spend it on each other? Save the money you put on a venue, catering, and attire and spend it on a new house, a vacation, or whatever you want. 2. Know when to speak and when it's better to stay quiet. You don't have to share every single thought that pops into your head, especially if your opinion or comment adds stress to a situation or detracts from a positive experience. Example: my husband got lost driving in the dark of a city we just moved to, and I didn't scold him, whine, complain, or express the anxiety I was feeling. I simply helped navigate using a map until we finally reached home an hour later, then thanked him for getting us back safely. 3. Become a safe space for your partner by creating an environment where they feel comfortable expressing all emotions without negative repercussions as long as they don't hurt the other person. For example, anger is one emotion I am prone to repressing. It's an automatic coping mechanism for me, and when I see my spouse angry, it makes me very uncomfortable. But I try to understand his perspective and allow him to feel angry about what has upset him, as anger is a valid response to certain situations. Do not invalidate feelings. 4. You don't need to share everything. When you're married, you do not have to share products or bend to the style or preference of the other partner. You don't need to share a blanket, the same toothpaste tube, or whatever it may be. 5. Divide the load equally and make it a team effort. If you don't, one person may carry more of a burden, and this can lead to resentment. Don't fall into stereotypical household roles if you disagree with them. You're a woman, so you do all the cooking and cleaning? That's not fair. Do you even like cleaning? What if your spouse is the better cook? Share the responsibility and come to an agreement about who wants to do what, when, and for how long. 6. Get a therapist. No, seriously, your spouse is not your therapist. You can talk about issues or problems you may have, but it's best to use a professional therapist to help you cope with life and provide a neutral perspective on an issue. 7. No name-calling and yelling. We made this a rule while dating. It is not acceptable to call each other names or swear at each other or yell. If one of us is upset and notices we are yelling, we ask for time alone and later return to the conversation speaking in normal tones. My mom screamed at me growing up. That was her form of communication. Shrill commands and insults. It was really important to me that we lay this foundation of respectful communication. Okay, done. Thanks for reading. Story 12. If you are thinking of getting married now, whatever bad habits he has or whatever he already doesn't do, such as dishes or laundry, he will just continue not to do and will not change. Think about if that is something you can put up with for the rest of your life. Story 13. Do not move away from your support network, especially if or when you have kids. If your relationship breaks down, you will have a hard time relocating back to them. Story 14. Red flags get worse after marriage. It's easier to break up than to divorce, especially after having kids. Some men might get into therapy and change small habits, but those movies that depict men having life-changing circumstances and suddenly becoming the hero? I'm convinced these movies were made to keep women hopeful and married. Story 15. Please have standards. Don't settle for someone you have to soft parent. I've had to drop so many friends because I can't stand the whole "my spouse is useless and I'm a married single mom, but I won't do anything about it but complain" thing. I'm not extremely lucky to be a lesbian. My wife and I just have the same values. Story 16. As soon as you have kids, be ready to be pushed into social norms hard. You will be a mother and not a woman anymore, and people have a lot of opinions on what a mother should or should not do. Story 17. There is a lot of great advice in here, and I'll just add, don't ever minimize your partner's feelings to maximize your own. Everyone deserves space to have emotions. Story 18. Co-parenting is forever. Marriage is not. Who you have children with is a much more serious consideration than marriage or weddings. Keep some of your own finances for yourself. Maintain your independence and ability to provide for yourself into the future. Do not give that up for anyone. I also wish I had not spent anywhere near as much on the wedding. Have an amazing holiday instead. Travel the world. Or save it for a home deposit. It seriously just is not worth it, and just as much joy can be accomplished with far less. Story 19. Do not marry someone who is known to tell little lies. Once you catch someone lying several times, it is part of who they are. Someone making endless promises and not delivering is not it. They may have good intentions, but if they put zero effort, that is just nonsense.